Hey guys, welcome to my tutorial on Apex Legends. Now this game is a lot of fun. So when I first started and was terrible at it, I kept dying it over and over. I knew I wanted to keep playing, but also not wanting to be such a handicap to my team. I watched a lot of videos and then they all focused on aim and movement. And while those things are important, I couldn't find a good way to practice those without being in game. Sure, I can spend hours in the firing range, which I did. I got really good at shooting stationary targets, but when you notice when you're playing in game, it's way different. Characters are moving around a lot. And yeah, you can turn on the bots with the Easter egg, but they don't move like the players in game. They move very slow and then they stop once in a while. And it's not until I stumbled across a video on a global Apex tournament that I realized movement was kind of overrated. Nobody was really moving around all too crazy. Instead, they focused on team play and positioning. So this video is going to be more focused around that, along with some of my own tips for the really new players that I think anybody can do. Now the first thing I suggest doing is adjusting your sensitivity. What I like to do is grab the wingman because it is a pretty decent gun in game as well. You can do it with the P20, but generally a lot of people don't use the P20, especially without the hammers on it. So I like to grab the wingman and then you just go through the targets right and left and see if you can hit them in the head. So if you're going past your targets before you shoot, then your sensitivity would be too high. And if you are not going far enough before you shoot, then your sensitivity would be too low. The whole idea of this is that it's much easier for the game to adjust to you rather than you adjust to the game. Now there's a lot of good viable guns in this game, but if you don't know where to start, I'd pick up the Spitfire and see how that feels. It has a large mag size, it doesn't have any weird mechanics, and the downfall of it is that you can't move as fast while holding some of the other guns, which is going to be okay because you're not going to be bouncing around at the start all too much anyway. Moving on to character selection as a newer player, Lifeline is a good choice because you're gonna be more in the back generally because you wanna see how the game is played, you're not really sure what you're doing, you're gonna be following your teammates around. So reviving only works if your teammates go down first, and if your teammates never go down, then you guys are just winning. Being in the back also means that you might be using sniper weapons. I see this a lot with new players, and I think Gibraltar is a good choice for that because when you're aiming down sights, he has an extra shield. So if you're shooting someone far away and they're shooting at you, and especially if they don't have a sniper weapon, you are generally gonna win that fight. If while being in the firing range you found out that you are pretty good with two weapons but trash at the rest, then Loba's a good choice because it increases your chance of obtaining those weapons pretty early. For me personally at the beginning, I had a really hard time keeping up with my teammates, so I like to use Octane. It's important to note that even though these characters are helping disguise some of the weaknesses that you may have as a newer player, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily bad when you start to get better and don't have those weaknesses anymore. For example, I like to use Bloodhound, because I feel like my biggest weakness now is knowing where people are exactly while in battles, but my biggest strength is probably good decision making, and more information you have just leads to better decisions, which the Eye of the All-Father, the temporary wall hack, helped with. Because I'm trying to stress the importance of team play and decision making, the only way to really do that is while in game. Starting with, I would call it an Audible Landing. This is not the original place they wanted to land. You can see that they reping right there onto the right. From my experience, I know there's not enough loot there to support 3 players, so I tried to choose the building closest to them, but also the safest. Now the information I have thus far is that my teammates are kind of far away, and also there's other squads in this area. So you'll see that I'm gonna scan the building, the next building that I approach, and I notice that there's somebody in there. Now when I first started playing, I would have just ran in there and tried to kill this guy, but there's 3 reasons why I shouldn't. Number 1, my teammates are far away, which I already know. Number 2, I don't have a shield. And number 3, this guy has elevated positioning on me, meaning he has a height advantage. So instead I go around to at least immediately solve the elevation issue. Number 2, it actually buys time for my allies to get to me, which they are. And number 3, I actually found a shield, which is awesome. So all my problems are solved. Taking a look back here at my teammates' exact positioning, I know they're on top of the building. I put a shot into this guy that surprisingly comes around, and I decide to push this. Now I'm not sure if this guy's alone, but I do know that he doesn't have a shield and he's injured. So there's a few reasons why I decided to go this way. Number 1, I heard some gunshots more to the right, so being on this side gives me cover from those guys who may end up spotting me and putting a few shots into me. Number 2, it's really limiting his options. If he stays where I saw him or where he is, my teammates can shoot him, and I was kind of expecting him to run back here to the left. But he decided to stay exactly where he was, which became a very easy kill, especially with the other 2 teammates on top shooting at him. So here I find an R3, which is great because it's the gun I like to use, but I don't have enough bullets for the R3. With the Scout, it's okay to have 46 bullets, but not with the R3, especially with my aim, with a lot of players still around. So I'm looking for more ammo, but at the same time clearing the back. I think a lot of players don't clear the back as much as they should. I feel like a lot of times that I've died is because I haven't cleared the back and just getting shot from behind, which kind of sucks. Here my ally has given me 2 pieces of information that are pretty great. I love allies who ping where enemies exactly are, and also she's shooting here to the left. So that means there's a person up there. Now, because of her aggressive stance, she's on top, standing wide open on the fence, and also you can hear that her character says shooting, which means that she's hitting her shot, that the guy up on the left there is going to be running back or not super aggressive, which means it's clearing a path for me to push the guys underneath, and at the same time protecting my ally that's standing up on the fence. Now, I also know that these guys have been fighting for a while, so I'm hoping that everybody's injured, maybe some of them are down. And I happen to catch this guy looting the box, but I don't finish the job and I run around to the outside for a couple of reasons. First of all, I unloaded my whole clip, so I have to reload anyway so I can get some cover. Number 2, I don't know what's on the other side of that smoke. I know he has at least one more ally because only Bangalores can cast smoke, and that was a Bloodhound. And number 3, based on where my allies are, if I run underneath, they can't cover me, but if I stay on the outside, based on where they are, they can put a few shots in if I do happen to get in trouble. So after finishing that guy, I'm trying to find the Bangalore now. Now I always run back into cover while scanning because while you're scanning you can't be shooting at the same time. I saw that he was pretty far away, but the problem is my ally is also there. So I had to make a decision on whether to help my ally finish that one guy off or just continue on and try to down this guy. Now because this game is played in 3s, assuming that there may be one more player, I didn't want to leave this guy behind me because the down guy can actually ping your exact location, and also that maybe they can get revived while we're there dancing around with the last guy. I decided to finish this guy off and try to rush over there as fast as I can. I will say though, if I scan and there was 2 enemies on the other side, that you should just go straight and help your ally. Another thing is if you put a bullet into the shield and it ends up being purple, then don't just stand there and try to kill him off with the purple shield. You can run behind him and try to shoot him in the back, or if not, just run straight away. And another thing is if the enemy was in my line of sight, obviously you'd be shooting the enemy and not trying to finish this guy off. Now if you do end up finishing a guy and you know that he had a better shield than you, then you can go ahead and open his box and shield swap. That is so you don't have to pop a shield cell or battery. This way is a lot faster, and maybe take some ammo, but everything else, then just leave it. Just leave it till the end, until the squad is completely finished. Because the more time you're in the box, especially with action going on around you, the less time that you can be productive. And even worse, you can actually be caught getting shot while in a box, which could have happened in this scenario, because as soon as I finish taking the shield and the ammo, I hear footsteps behind me. So I'm going to try to run to my ally and cover up ahead. And once I get close enough, you're going to start to see me do this 180 slide shoot thingy, which is pretty lucky, and it worked out. So after a lot of running around, we end up in our final resting place here. So spoiler alert, we don't make it out of this one alive, but it's another good example of how sound can really help. I can hear this guy sneaking up around me, so I'm able to down him very fast. Just so you guys can hear what it sounds like, I'm going to turn the volume up on the footsteps, although it's not going to be this loud when you're playing. After finishing this Bloodhound, we drew a lot of attention. This is the middle of the map and people do like the third party, so a lot of teams ended up coming here. This is where the mistakes really started to compound. Generally when there's a lot of teams, you want to stay closer together. You don't want to be pushing too much, because the less you're doing, the less you're going to put yourselves in bad situations. So you want to stay close together. You want to be playing more defense than offense, trying to down people from distance. And then when more people go down and you hear less shooting around you, that's when you can start pushing if your full team is up. If they're not up, then obviously you want to revive them first, assuming that you're going to be really close to them anyways. Now the mistake here is that there's so many targets around that I did not hear that this lifeline pinged that somebody was close to her. But after the lifeline got downed, you want to rush to them right away, because generally the person may be trying to heal or the enemy may be trying to finish, which was that case there, and it's basically an easy kill. And then for my last mistake, I was too aggressive. I was completely ignoring cover and got blasted by somebody there on the left while trying to finish this Octane. Moving right into the next game, I pretty much get down right off the drop. But I can still be fairly useful to my team by calling out the enemy's position. You also want to protect yourself as much as possible to buy time for your team to get to you, and maybe your allies can blast them if the enemy is trying to finish you off. This is also important to prevent the enemy from shield swapping, but that doesn't apply here since I don't have a shield. In this situation that I'm in, I've seen a lot of players leave, which I can maybe understand if your allies are running away or far away, but otherwise try to hang in there. It should only take a few more seconds to see if they can win the fight, and if they do, it means that they are decent and you have a better chance to win the game. In our next encounter, this enemy team did not rotate together. You can see the Wraith was way ahead of this Bloodhound that's in the back there. I don't know how she even came from that side. I don't know if she was super way ahead and looped around that rock. But in any case, because they did not rotate together, it makes it easier for us. They become separated. We only have to focus one guy at a time. And since we're all shooting this Bloodhound, I decided to push him. And then, after going for the quick shield swap, I was going to run back and help my allies try to finish off the Wraith, but they already did it, so I just turn back around and loot. In this example here, we are at the edge of a closing ring, and the first thing you want to do is take a peek at the other side. You can assume enemies will be coming in with the ring. This happens quite a bit, so this is basically to prevent being caught in the middle of a crossfire. If I did end up spotting somebody there, I would have called out enemy and suggest for us to move in front of the buildings, bunker up with the Watson fences, and wait for things to calm down. We spot some enemies pretty far away, and because our Watson dropped down, it's more important to shoot at them to protect her, even if you're not going to get any kills out of it. Also, it's good not to get tunnel vision, just in case more guys are coming in closer to us, and one way of doing that is looking around while reloading. We spot more enemies still outside the ring closer, and the Watson makes a good decision to run back up to us to help. Here I know my teammate is getting shot and both of them turned around, but I was expecting more guys to be coming into the ring. Because they weren't beamed with shields still up, I'm trusting them to at least buy time to be sure that nobody was coming into the ring, since it'd be far worse for us to all be turned around and guys sneak through and blast us in the back. But once one of them goes down, I have to take the risk and help. Also, I know that there's still guys on top here, but my ally, even though is down, needs to be protected. If I stay up top and poke fight those guys, it would allow for the enemy at the bottom to completely finish our ally off, and in the later stages of games, it's more difficult to respawn allies and have them build their loot back up. I will say though, if our ally was already a box, I wouldn't have dropped down immediately, or if those enemies are closer to us, the ones on top, I would have stayed up top because you had to help the live ally. Once that guy was finished, I had to make the decision to go for the revive or go back up top and help the live ally. Since it didn't seem like my ally was in any danger, I started to revive, and it looked like I accidentally dropped it, but my ally started taking fire, so I planned to go back up there and help him, but he's a really good player and finished the job, so now I can safely get the revive off. Keep in mind that this only applies if your team is close together. If my live ally was too far away, then you should stick with the revive, because once you get to the live ally, he could already be downed already, and then you don't have an extra ally that you could have revived to help you. Also, it's better to revive than to heal up, especially if you know there's not a lot of immediate dangers around you, since after the revive, you can both be popping a battery at the same time, meaning it's the fastest way to get your team up and running again. Again, this is under the assumption that your team was close together and you round to your downed ally almost instantly and finish the threat around them. If you are hurt and have no idea where the enemy is, even if you're right on top of the downed ally, it would make sense to heal before reviving, since some sneaky players used players they have downed as bait. In this next part, this is a really bad place to take a fight. There isn't much cover around here where this Gibraltar shielded, but he's a really good player. I mean, I don't know him personally, but based on the game thus far, he's always making the right decision and genuinely cares about his teammates. So I'm thinking he only staying here because I came in there to try to help him, which can happen sometimes when both you and your allies focus on team play. You can end up in bad spots when you really care for each other. Here I get blasted, so I'm trying to find cover and hopefully an ally so I can heal, but this Watson ends up running away while I'm trying to get the bat off. So now I'm in panic mode, punching some air, but my allies do come around to help, which allows me to get away with 1 HP in a dream. Another reason to stay close together. If you're starting to notice a theme here. I do need to heal again, but with no cover, the best I can do is go behind my allies and use this bush and pray that it's bulletproof. What you're about to see here is very situational. One of my allies got down and another healing in the bubble, so I decided to pop a heal out in the very open. You almost always want to have cover while you're healing when you can, but with my allies not in the greatest shape and expecting a push from the right side, I'm hoping to draw attention to myself. Generally, when you see a guy healing in the open, it's super tempting to shoot at them, but I'm thinking with full shields up and the distance from the enemies, I wouldn't immediately be downed if I was targeted. If they don't see me and run straight towards the bubble, I'm moving forward and will have full health when I get there. Looking back, this also seemed like it would have been a good time to use my ultimate too. Unfortunately, I didn't expect an enemy to pop up on the left side as well, and I start getting blasted by both sides. My ally, being as awesome as he is though, makes the correct play once again, dropping the revive and helping me with the more immediate threat, which is the guy on the left. Also, you see, while we push this guy, I don't take the same exact path as my ally. You never really want to line up to take bullets, as well as bullets you shoot will never go through allies. After that guy was finished and no other players pushed into us, we can now go for the revive. Another nice play by the Gibraltar ulting to help get the revive off. In this situation, you want to be almost right on top of them to ensure they can get it off, since lines work both ways, meaning enemies can't be shooting your teammates without you being able to shoot them, providing some cover fire if needed. I scanned to see his positioning, hoping the Watson can see too, and assumed she would move over to the left to heal since it's safer. I went first to provide more protection while she heals up, but instead the Watson goes the wrong way and gets downed again. Because we know there is only one guy remaining here and I can easily get a line back on our teammates while keeping a line on the enemy, I decide to stay and throw a grenade. It's always good to ping before throwing the nade, since if it makes the enemy move, your allies are ready to shoot them while the enemy runs into a line your allies may have. Running way ahead of your teammates is almost always bad, but an exception here would be to a closing ring, which brings up another good tip to not overloot. The Watson presumably is checking all the boxes now, which probably led to her death. Honestly, if you have the gun you like with enough ammo, a decent shield, and some heals, all of the other stuff doesn't help all too much. If you can get it easily, that's great, but it's certainly not worth risking death over or getting too far separated from your team. When I'm safely in the next ring, I take a look back to see where the Gibraltar is, and he's such a good teammate, you can tell he's torn. He wanted to try to help the Watson, but there's just no way to do that, and he actually even apologized. I'm now waiting for him before approaching the next area. I feel like not waiting for each other is the biggest problem most solo queue teams have, and it would definitely be worse if I went in, started getting shot at, run into cover, and not picking where the enemies are. This would leave my teammates walking into a dangerous situation blind, since enemy guns will now be focused on where I came from, ready to beam him. Like I said early in this video, I had a hard time keeping with my teammates, so this happened to me a lot, but it's also my fault for not being able to keep up due to overlooting. So fast players, please wait for your team, and slow players, try to keep an eye on the minimap, and if your allies are moving out, forget walking to the opposite way to check that last bin. It's better to just go with them. When there are two squads left and you're not third partying, you want to take your time and figure out where the last team is to try and think of a way to approach. For example, if they were on the elevated middle area, which seems to be the best spot here, it would be tough to get up there and kill them with what we have. We may have to find cover and hope a future ring pushes them off it, or maybe the Gibraltar could ulti to make them come down, or zip up and bubble immediately. Either way, you have more time to discuss with your ally what you want to do, since you know where all the remaining enemies are, and don't have to worry about any more surprises or getting hit by multiple angles. Now I totally noobed on this last guy, but the Gibby got the punch in the face for the win. And for the final tip of this clip, it is mandatory to squad spam with your team to celebrate. Because the team play strategy involves teams being close together and protecting each other, maintaining lines of sight, it isn't always going to be the easiest or even possible if a teammate runs off, either being way too aggressive, rotating fast, which I like to call the demon, or running away from every fight, which I like to call the chicken. I didn't film a lot of games in the making of this video, but this is an example of one that I didn't really plan to use just because the team play strategy is not really demonstrated here, but I guess it's just still a good example of how it can't work. But I would say maybe only 1 out of 5 games with random teammates I get an ally that doesn't like to play together. But regardless if the teammate is a demon running far ahead, wiping everyone, or a chicken running away from everyone, it just isn't as fun, and find myself not doing all too much aside from running around the map trying to stick with them. If I had to choose though, I think I prefer the chicken over the demon since my whole thing is about protecting allies, and with the chicken, you don't really need to protect him as much since he's often not going to be in danger. Demons generally have great aim and movement, so if they go down and you try to run in there and help them, you're likely just to die too with your individual talent maybe not being as good. But because this is a team game and movement is more of an individual skill, don't worry about it too much. It definitely can be useful in certain situations, let's say if both your teammates go down or you're in a 1v1 situation, but it's still heavily relied on enemy mistakes. Most of the glory videos I see of players getting 20 plus kills or 5,000 plus damage, the advanced movement is about trying to separate enemy teams. If those teams just always stuck close together, maintaining lines of sight on each other, there's not much the advanced movement guys can do with multiple guns on them every time they pop up. And it's also harder on the advanced movement guy's allies to play around him, since he's constantly breaking lines of sight on each other with all the repositioning he's doing. I get it, sometimes you don't want to think and not really trying to win, but just trying to have fun or want to practice these skills. So by watching YouTuber Fade, who maybe has the most videos with movement in the title, I learned the best way to do this is by dropping in games by yourself, not auto-filling your team. If you don't really plan to play as a team anyways, it's better not to have them as they may just get frustrated trying to keep up with you or trying to protect you. I know that there was a lot in this video, but if you take anything away from it, just try to stick with your team and protect them at all times. It's gonna go a long way for your own personal results, even if your aim and movement isn't the greatest. That's gonna be it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. My amazing and silly wife surprised me with some amazing Apex decals one day, such as this caustic trap on a toilet seat and Phoenix Kit symbol on a coffee mug. If you want your very own Phoenix Kit decal, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like this video, and leave "I want that" in the comments. If and when this video gets 88 likes, we will randomly ship one out to a lucky winner. Okay, bye. Wow, that was just lovely.